Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers quarterback, who was selected in the first round of 2005, has been in the news recently and has caught some heat from certain segments of society. Rodgers has been with the Wisconsin outfit his whole career, showing that loyalty in professional sports is still alive and well. Today, we are discussing claims that Rodgers is a narcissist and why people think so. Stay with us. First of all, let's look into Rodgers' backstory a bit. Born Aaron Charles Rodgers in California in 1983, Rodgers has cemented the QB starting position in Green Bay for nearly 2 decades, which is no mean feat. He was the star of the Super Bowl winning team of 2011, and for that is rightly hero worshipped in Wisconsin. His humble beginnings saw him play relatively low-level college ball for Butt College and was not highly coveted by the NFL teams. Once he transferred to Berkeley in 2003, he took over as the school starter at QB and up to number 9 in the AP rankings poll. After being named in the All-Pacific 10, he was picked up by the Packers as backup to Green Bay legend Brett Favre. The apprenticeship was long and saw him receive limited playing time in his first couple of seasons, but once Favre left unceremoniously in 2008, Rodgers really began to flourish. He quickly proved he can handle the limelight, throwing more than 4,000 yards and 18 touchdowns in his first full season. Great numbers! After that awesome breakout season, he was rewarded with a 6-year, $65 million contract, which only served to motivate him even more to keep up his impeccable form. At the end of his second year, he became the first NFL player ever to pass 4,000 yards in his first 2 seasons as a starter. Pretty impressive. What's your favorite memory of Rodgers? So, why was he in the news recently? Rodgers stated back in August that he was immunized against COVID, which led people to believe he was vaccinated. He told reporters, "Yeah, I've been immunized," when asked about his vaccination status. It appears that back in August, Rodgers had chosen his words very carefully, because when it was recently revealed the star QB had caught COVID, it all came out that he is in fact not vaccinated. He went on back in August to say that he thought it was a personal decision, which nobody can really argue with. He explained that people have been vaccinated and still caught COVID, which is true, but he did also pull the wool over many people's eyes. At least Kyrie Irving had the nerve to come out and say exactly what his position was and face up to his defectors. Catching the virus saw him miss 10 days and many had to quarantine. Obviously, since it has come out he is not actually vaccinated, the pitchforks have been sharpened and numerous people have come after him. And what about these claims of narcissism? Stay with us to find out. So it has since come to light that Rodgers intentionally misled fans, the media, teammates, etc. into believing he was vaccinated. In all fairness, he never actually said he was vaccinated, just that he was immunized, which after receiving homeopathic antibody treatments, it could be argued that he was. Sports analyst Bill Simmons then went after Rodgers, saying that he thinks the Packers starman is a diva. He went on to explain that the past couple of years has seen him engage in behavior more suited to the likes of show business stars and singers. The way he handled the offseason was brought up, and his loyalty to the team was also questioned by Simmons. His criticism of Rodgers didn't end there. He questioned why he was sulking about the Packers' decision to bring in Jordan Love, and also why he's acting like he's a Jaguars player when he has such a stellar team around him already. Simmons suggested it might be an age thing, claiming he thinks people sometimes get a little weird the older they get. "Thanks, Bill," he commented. "I'm not saying always, but sometimes people who are single start to become a little narcissistic, and they start seeing things through this lens of me, 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 me. What about me? Everything's about me." And to me, he just seemed like a classic narcissist the last year. Everything was someone else's fault. He took no responsibility. He honestly seemed to think he was gonna be the Jeopardy host, which was insane. So what does science say about Rodgers' stance? Stay with us to find out. So we all know how hard scientists have worked over the past 2 years to roll out the COVID vaccine, and we salute them for this modern medicinal marvel. But when people like Rodgers do something like this, it only serves to separate an already separated population even further, and to force people to choose a team, which is no good for anybody. Rodgers has always been accused by scientists of repeating misinformation surrounding the virus and vaccine, being a serious voice in the world of social media with over 4.5 million followers on Twitter. A lot of people will listen to what this guy says and does. Dr. William Schaffner, who is a professor of medicine at Vanderbilt, said of Rodgers, "Any very public figure who first of all is duplicitous and then makes misstatements certainly is contrary to what we're trying to achieve from a public health perspective." And we would, all of us who are in public health, I think I can speak for my colleagues across the country, think that this is very unfortunate. We think that's probably fair enough from the scientist's point of view. They have worked incredibly hard on this vaccine, and although it's not perfect, it's surely better to have some sort of protection than nothing. Rodgers has taken full responsibility the past few days about what he had said, but hasn't come out with an explanation or corrections to any of his statements. What do you make of Rodgers' recent behavior? Another hated player now. We're discussing Ben Roethlisberger. Arguably the most important role on the team, QBs are often referred to as the team leader, probably rightfully so, but Big Ben was often referred to as a diva or drama king. He has been accused of faking injuries to make him look tough, but it often had the opposite effect. A couple of sexual assault accusations also did nothing to endear Roethlisberger to the general public, and now he finds himself as one of the most hated players in the NFL. Pro football's most hated players join us next. Stick around. Conrad Dobler was the sort of man who loved to be hated. Reveled in it, in fact. He had an attitude where he would literally do anything he could to win a game of football. Eye gouging, biting, mask twisting, nothing was out of bounds for Dobler. He had the talent too. Referees would often focus on Dobler to see if they could call a foul on anything he was doing, but he was pretty stealth in his actions. This also let his teammates get away with a lot of stuff because they were so focused on Dobler. What are your memories of Dobler? Have you ever seen him play? We cannot talk about hated players without mentioning T.O. Terrell Owens was an enigma, supremely talented on the field and also at rubbing people up the wrong way. Although he never fell foul of the law, he did his teammates. From calling Jeff Garcia homosexual to getting into a fight with Eagles ambassador Hugh Douglas. He also once said the Cowboys had a TR problem, not a TO problem, which did nothing for his relationship with Tony Romo. What is the funniest TO story in your opinion? Rodney Harrison joins us next. Stay tuned. There are many sources of people's hate for Harrison. It's a case of take your pick. First of all, he played for the Patriots, which is enough for most non-Patriot fans to instantly hate a player, not to mention his use of HGH and subsequent ban. One of the biggest reasons for hatred of Harrison is his tag of dirtiest player in the league, which he was voted on multiple times throughout his career. Fellow players and coaches gave him the distinction in 2004, 2006, and 2008. What do you think of Harrison as a player? Next up, Tim Tebow. Some people would have Tebow as the best college ball QB of all time, and maybe the worst pro, which is quite the distinction. It was his incessant preaching and desire to profess his faith publicly. We get it, you're religious, and that's fine, but please leave other people alone. They don't need to be believers for you to get your kicks, Tim. He once told a room of people to bow their heads and pray before taking the Wonderlic test, to which someone in the room responded, "Shut the F up," which kind of captured people's feelings towards Tebow perfectly. As always, thanks for joining us today, and don't forget to tune in next time. Feel free to comment below and share with your friends. Bye, guys!